Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crossover Podcast, episode 58. As you can see, I'm kind of alone tonight, for now, at least. Paul is having a date with his wife. For those, once again, that don't know, Paul is deployed with the Army or Air Force. For some reason, I can't remember. But he is currently unavailable tonight. Perfectly fine. I hope he has a happy holiday and enjoys some time off as well. Happy holidays to everybody that is in the chat. Thank you for tuning up. Why the first question? And I probably should have addressed this earlier. The reason why this is the crossover podcast is because we cross over multiple regions and multiple thought topics whenever we discuss something. Like, there's no one particular thing that we necessarily focus on, even though the LCS is the majority of that. Paul's a TSM fan, I'm a 100 Thieves fan, so there's crossover between those. We talk about sports, video games, and the relationship between the two a lot, so there's crossover between that. And there's just a lot of mixing and matching of different things, because we just enjoy a lot of different things. I don't know. I do know that there's a crossover podcast on Spotify that is a basketball podcast for obvious reasons. The crossover is a basketball term, first and foremost, before anything. But I couldn't really think of any like good golf or gaming puns that aren't already taken. But it just kind of is what it is. So, as I said, tonight is not going to be a lonely night by any means, because I'm inviting all of you to come on the show. I am putting in chat right now the link to Discord, my Discord specifically. And if you want to come on the show, this is an open call night. I got two topics that I want to talk about specifically with the highlights of your 2022 and what you're looking forward to with 2023. Every single person that goes in the lounge chat, I will drag in at some point, and we have one draft at the end on the best ways to end a game in all chat. But Hotline, the difference between Hotline League and this is that we're actually going to get through every single person that comes in the lounge chat. I will not exclude anybody. Obviously, if only one person is there, which I know Heely is there. So thank you for hopping on. We'll just chat until somebody else comes in. I do want to give a shout out though, real quick, before I begin all of this stuff. First and foremost, if Tom Shoe finds his way here, God only knows what's going to happen. But thank you, not only to everybody tuning in, but for all of my content that you've watched this year. It means more than I'll ever fully be able to tell you or be able to express to you. And hopefully one day I can start giving back to everybody as well. But it means a lot to Con, because I know you're very active within the LCS community. And I know, obviously, I'm not paying anybody to moderate for me, given that I'm, A, not at that level. B, I don't even make any money for myself, so I don't have the ability to pay for anything. But just thank you for being around. I appreciate it a lot. I really do. And with that, let's get it started. Why not? Hop into. We'll drag Heely in. Okay, Con. Nick, how we doing?
Yo, pretty good.
How's your night going?
It's pretty good. Hanging out with some ARMs. Lost some TFTs really hard.
Oh, yeah, I've been hovering around gold 1 between 0 LP and 50 LP, which is a lot quicker than it took me to get there with the last set. But same thing, I'm losing a lot of LP some games.
Yeah.
How do you like the set?
I love it and I hate it.
What do you hate about it?
Very Vel'Koz. Holy crap, Vel'Koz.
I mean, I played one game as like a full threat comp, 3-star Vel'Koz, and Vel'Koz did no damage. So I'm not sure if I wasn't building the right items, but I had like a Jewel Gauntlet on him, so I don't know why he was doing nothing.
It's just... So threat as a whole, Mortdog has said this multiple times, that they're units that are meant to drop into comps when you need them for something.
Yeah.
So why should you be able to make a comp out of specifically them when they get no traits? I just hate it. It's the most brainless thing.
I
It's just
agree with you,
obnoxious.
but I feel like I feel like threats can easily be outmatched.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
I haven't seen a threat comp win a game yet. Now, granted, that's just my personal experience. I like the majority of the comps that I see winning right now tend to be if somebody can get obviously all maxed out traits, then 9 times out of 10, as long as they're a decent economy, they end up winning. But on top of that, mascot super Yumi. Then you have like the recon comps, and then now you have Talia creeping up a little bit.
It, I see everyone hating on Yumi. It's just a reroll comp.
Yeah, that's all it is, and it's very easy to play.
And if your carry gets one shot in the backline when it's top four because you didn't scout and position against it, that's your problem.
I honestly I don't mind reroll comp. It's the same thing with Jax. A lot of people go Bruiser Jax right now, and it doesn't bother me whatsoever. It's like, okay, I know what you're doing. I need to be able to beat you.
Yeah. And like just contest units. If you see someone trying to force this comp, hold the Malphites, hold the Gallios, hold the Yumis. Putting them a turn or two back so that they have to push levels kills their pace.
I'm I'm honestly shocked by the amount of people that don't know to contest comps or like contest items in carousel, like just to scout a little bit. But I mean, I can't say I'm all that. Not everybody is there to play the game super competitively, so I kind of get it. But at the same time, it's ranked, so you should be playing competitive. I don't know.
It's also patch one. Things will balance.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mort says he hates mascots, so they're gonna get nerfed into the ground, so
He doesn't like mascots, really? Why?
the healing, it's just too much maximum health.
I mean, I'm not denying that, but I feel like there's a lot of healing in the game besides just mascots. Like you go like a recon duelist comp and you throw Neela with Warmongs and whatever what is it? It's tier and the health item. I forget what
Oh,
that comes out to.
redemption.
Redemption. You throw those two in there, she doesn't die. Like ever.
Yeah, but she doesn't heal the whole comp, you know?
No, but she heals herself enough to the point where it doesn't matter. It's one of those like I get it. I get not healing the whole comp, sure, but healing one unit is arguably just as bad in my opinion. I don't know,
Yeah, it's obnoxious. A lot of
but
backline access in the game as well.
oh yeah, which I think is somewhat of a good thing, but there's not enough ways to counter it right now. It seems like unless you're like specifically positioning all of your units to just absolutely cuck
Oh, for
cuck
sure.
a Zed diving him back.
The thing I've noticed with Zed is you can kill the hacker room, but it's like it's pure luck.
Yeah, it there's almost little to no chance. 9 times out of 10.
I've had it happen playing Yumi comp once, and I was like, oh, that's a neat interaction. I'm glad that's there.
So, kind of switching it back to League of Legends. I'm curious. What's your favorite moment from this year?
So I did say I was going to get boot off for this,
Oh boy.
but week two Worlds, 100 Thieves versus RNG is the only game of the year I've actually been on the edge of my seat.
Really?
It's the
Not
it's
even the top versus Gam game?
that was exciting too, but it just didn't have the same sticking power of being an LCS team.
Okay.
Es-
Yeah, I see what your point is now.
Especially that felt like the only game of groups where an NA team was playing their style. It's the only game that we tried to do what we were doing in our region, and it almost worked.
I will contest that partially by saying game 1 or week 1 EG versus JDG. I don't know if you remember, Cowrie was on Varus, and I think Vulcan was Tom Kench, or I forget who. It was
Oh
either Tom Kench or
yeah,
Thresh.
I was at
But
work for that game.
we were okay. That makes sense. We were up 4 or 5K, and like we were absolutely crushing it in bot lane. Now there was this looming issue in jungle top lane that was becoming apparent, but it looked for a while like we could hang on to win that game. And had we won that, I think the whole context of Worlds going into week 2 would have been entirely different.
Yeah, I mean, we just got railed. There's no other way to say it. We weren't up to par this year.
Are we here? Okay, question for you as that transitions to 2023. Are we ever going to be in that position? Like, are we ever going to be, is it ever not going to be a tough year ever again?
Um, I think there's hope. There's a lot of we really need to change systems is the problem. And I have no clue how to do that, but copying LEC one would be a start. We need more game is our main problem.
Agreed.
And
Absolutely agreed.
there's not enough pressure on those games. Like Spring still doesn't matter. I don't care who you
No.
talk to. MSI doesn't matter. Spring does not matter to these NA teams. It is Worlds. You see it in the dig advertising. You see it in all this advertising like we're making Worlds, blah blah blah. You need to put more emphasis on early games of the year.
I I agree and I disagree with this because I get your point that Spring Split technically doesn't matter if you're viewing it from the standpoint of international play and Worlds being everything. But my question to you is why is Worlds that benchmark? Why is winning domestically not valuable enough for you? Like irrelevant of MSI, irrelevant of Worlds, why is winning an LCS title not number one on your priority list?
For me or for the org?
For you. This is just your opinion, your view.
I think it's super important to win those titles because those titles, stacking them up, should translate to international success. The only other time we've seen international success was both the times we went to finals, which was what 2015 CLG, 2019 TL,
Correct.
and then 2018 was C9 semifinals. 2015 CLG was an unstoppable monster. They were insane. Uh, and so was 2019 TL. That was like right in the middle or the beginning of their 4 year span or 4 split span, I think.
Yeah.
It translate. It should translate, and it does a lot of the time.
But
Other than
I,
this year, other than last year.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it really doesn't though. Because 2018, 2019, one out of two events, sure. But 2018 MSI was not great for Team Liquid. That was the Olay benching year. Going to 2019, Worlds was abysmal for us. 2020, the entire year, well, there was no MSI, so we don't know what Cloud9 would have looked like. But 2020 Worlds was abysmal. 2021, we had Cloud9 barely clinging on because of an LPL collapse at Worlds, but MSI was also abysmal. And then MSI this year was not great, and Worlds was not great. It's one of those where like I get your point that winning should translate to international success at least somewhat, but that's assuming that we have a minimum barrier or like a minimum level at an international stage, and we don't. Winning LCS no longer means that you should perform well at Worlds when in reality the LCK and LPL are just straight up better and more well rounded. So it's not a guarantee. And kind of going back to the question, it's like I get winning NA should mean something internationally, but why like ignoring the international part of it entirely? What weight does does the LCS independently carry any weight to you?
Not winning it on its own, translating to the next year, no. I think it should have some sort of weight to it.
How would you add that? Like say we live in a world where COVID once again hits and there's no international play, no travel, no nothing. How do you make the LCS on its own entertaining?
I mean, it starts with actually setting up teams to be likable. Because the bottom 5 teams of last year, I dare anyone to tell me anything about them from a branding standpoint.
I mean, oh wait, no, that was 2020. Never mind. I
Immortals
was gonna
can't
try.
really.
No, you're right. You're entirely
So
right.
it's on the teams, it's also on Riot. They need to prop themselves up to a higher standard. You can't let teams like Immortals come last year after year just because you know they're just going to sell their spot, probably. Or teams like TSM just shell out, maybe make playoffs and be all right with it.
I 100% agree with you, and I wish there were mechanisms in place to allow that to happen. I it, I just don't know how you do it, because this is basically the draft conversation. Like, as of right now, if you're losing in the LCS, you're losing because you want to sell. Whereas in any other sport, at least in America, when you're losing so that you can get a draft pick that can begin the turnaround for your career or like your organization. There's no fallback mechanic. And that's not to say that the bottom teams need a handout or like need a way to get back into it, but it creates easy storylines that give them a way to do so without straight up buying better players.
Yeah, there's no reward. Well, reward is a strong word for coming last,
Yeah.
but there's also no reward for coming first for the next year, the next split. There's no point to be first, so if you can make money while being last, why not do it?
What do you think is the team that is the most watched going into this year?
100 Thieves, probably. Biggest branding attempt. They're actually trying to interact with their fan base.
I agree with you. I wanted to make sure we were on the same page on that.
I am highly thinking about spray painting my Cloud9 chair.
Really?
I am on the 100 Thieves bandwagon. They have roped me in.
So even if they finish fourth and don't win, you're like they have you hooked enough that fourth is enough? Or do they have to win to keep you as a fan?
I'm going to be disappointed, but if they keep the branding, they can finish 10th for all I care.
I like it.
The interaction matters. It matters.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. That's why I'm it makes me happy to see that they're finally putting the effort in that it seems like nobody else is, barring like FlyQuest a little bit. But even then, like the only thing from FlyQuest has been from the orgs itself. None of the players on FlyQuest have made an attempt to push content yet.
The only other big branding thing I can think of in this year that an LCS team that has actually been cool was the CLG Knicks jersey for playoffs. That got me into the CLG faith for the playoffs as well.
I will tell you this. Having spoken personally to Danielle, who's head of marketing over there, to Greg Kim, who's running CLG, and many others that are involved with the CLG brand, they get it. Like they know. And I have full faith that regardless of what happens with this roster, say they do, say summer was just a high and they come back down to earth and are, maybe an eighth, ninth team. I have full faith that CLG long term will know how to market them, will know how to pick up the right players, do the right things to start growing their brand back. So long as the people that are currently involved with it stay involved with it. So I agree with you. Right move
Yeah,
on their part with the jersey, and even better going forward.
I think they go upwards as well. I think these big TL, these like team LPL stuff, it's gonna tank.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you can import a full team and expect them to do well in America. There's too many. It is clear that the cultural differences are tough to overcome, and every player seems like they struggle with it more and more.
It, like C9 Spring is a perfect example. They're hot through the regular season, and then they get figured out. Summit got exposed, and look what happens when you go back to your original talent. And I hate using the word import for people like Jensen. Jensen's been in this league 6 years now.
No, I agree.
You can't call him not an NA talent. That guy's only ever played in NA.
Here's the thing. He 100% is an NA talent, but he doesn't drive NA fans. I think it's the best way that I've been able to word him, because by all means, when he goes to an international event, he's an NA player. And anybody from any region will acknowledge that. He is so far removed from his time in the LEC that he's an LCS player. But Jensen's not a guy that you bring onto a roster, with the exception of Cloud9, to bring in more fans or to grow fandom in North America. He just does not have that marketability to him.
Yeah.
He's not him, if that makes sense.
So many teams are missing, like, I think every team has a person that they could rally behind. Like FlyQuest did it with Jose Dioto. I don't know why C9 is just pushing Blabber to the curb every chance they get. That is their guy. Market around him. He's your NA player that you're supposed to sell to us to make us happy about your org.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, this is one of those things. I try to play devil's advocate as much as I can, and Blabber might not want that attention for all that we know. And if he doesn't, and that's an active choice by Cloud9 to not push it, then I get it. And that's perfectly fine. And I will never fight that. But we don't know. There's no transparency around it, so it's very difficult to tell.
Yeah.
Any,
there's got to be some way to do it, though. Fudge as well, they tried it, and I guess they just stopped for some reason.
It's because the more Fudge opens his mouth, the more he becomes the villain of the league.
But that's what we need. We need a villain.
Agreed, but not in a... I don't... Okay, here's the thing. Doublelift is seen as a villain by a lot of people because he's cocky and talks shit. But ultimately, Doublelift is clearly proud of NA when it comes down to it. Would you or would you not agree with that?
Oh, for sure.
Do you think Fudge is proud of NA?
Not yet.
His interview at LCS after winning finals told me everything that I needed to know. When he was asked how is North America going to do at Worlds, and he said there's no hope, we are the only chance, every other team is going to get screwed. I was like, wow. You're really telling that to all the North American fans that are standing right in front of you.
Yeah, that was rough.
I was like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, I get you want to stay that image, you want to be the bad boy, etc. But like, if you're gonna play it, know how to play it well.
I agreed with everything up until then. I loved the "fuck the haters" line.
Oh,
One
I
of
agree.
my favorite moments.
I agree, 100%. That was a great moment.
It's us versus them, though, at Worlds. Everyone needs to understand that, and I even see other NA fans that I know are like diehard CLG fans, diehard Dig fans, being like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch G2 at Worlds." Like, dude, it is us versus them. It is NA. There are 3 NA teams. Take the banners off.
Yep. And if NA's out, then we cheer on EU because, well, okay,
or GAM.
Yeah, which okay. I was surprised to learn when I was in New York, there are a lot of people on the LCS side, like operation side and management, that don't want to see EU teams win at Worlds whenever NA drops out. Which I get, there's rivalry there, sure. But like from the fan side, I was cheering on Rogue when they made it to quarterfinals. And then I learned that I was like one of the only people doing so. I was like, oh, okay.
Every year Worlds rolls around, I make the same 3 PNGs with each of the NA teams. The same Wojak carrying the flag, and I wear it every day that we are playing, every game that we are playing. It's small, but it's something.
I was the guy that was wearing the American flag at Worlds up until a security guard told me not to.
Which, that's lame. Come on.
It was such bullshit, but apparently they had like a anti-flag, like a no nationality or no nation flag rule. You could carry like team flags, sure, but they didn't want any nations flags, I think due to issues with all of the Asian hate that's been going on. So if somebody brought in like a Chinese flag, they were worried about some discrimination that might happen there. Not within the league fans, to be clear, but like as you're exiting the stadium and all around, like people are just pieces of shit, and that just is what it is.
Yeah.
But I got 2 other people I got to drag in here, and we kind of went for a good like 15, 20 minutes. So I don't want to hog up any of their time as well. But what are you most excited for going into next year? Give me the one-liner to end it all.
The storylines, NA talent versus import mania.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Are you gonna watch on weekdays?
If I can, or I just wait till the weekend and there are VODs.
I disagree with the VOD squad, but sure. Otherwise, I agree. I can't watch VODs. Does nothing. If I'm not watching it live, I'm not watching it at all.
That's fair. They need to make a like audio only, like a more audio and intensive cast.
They did. So Space Ghost and a few others were involved with what was called League Day back in 2020, but it fizzled out, and I'm not sure what happened with it.
Mm,
But for a while there, it was a pretty consistent thing. But
interesting.
thank you for coming on, Nick. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for supporting everything throughout the entire year, and have an incredible holiday and have a very happy New Year, man.
Of course, you too. You deserve all the support you can get, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And C9 wins 2020 MSI if they get to go.
Oh God, he would leave on that son of a bitch. All right, before I pull in the next caller, just a reminder to those that are new in chat that might be watching, if you want to come on the show, be sure to hop in Discord via the link provided here. And Con put it as well. Hop in the lounge chat, and I will drag everybody in and make sure that we all get time. There's no time limit here, but I just want to make sure I get through everybody in case more people join. And if you have not, be sure to drop a follow on the channel. I'll be streaming more consistently on Twitch, uploading VODs to YouTube, and then still TikTok every day. So let's get the man himself in here. Con, how we doing?
Hello. Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. And actually, I think, a really good call because I think it brings a perspective of what I think LCS fans have been taught over the years and why it's so harmful to the league as we keep going on.
About the international results meaning everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you there. I don't know how. It's going to be very difficult to retrain a lot of minds on that, and it's even harder when you have co-streamers like Dom, LS, and others obviously so focused on international results because that's their biggest event, because they care about the peak level of competition, whereas we are just simply not that.
No, yeah, no. I remember, gosh, it was when Hotline League first started. I did a call where I said, I actually, my pitch was, and this is unpopular, it probably still is. My pitch was, for the League of Legends global scene to survive, the best thing they could do is to make Worlds into a buy every 2 year type tournament. That as time goes on and you're going, and you build your narrative around this one tournament being the only thing that matters, something they did a lot heavier on the broadcast back in the day, or still to this day could say it like that you're training fans to think that this is the only thing that matters. So whenever you consistently see realistic results happen, which LCS and even EU now struggling against, Korea and China, now that they have 4 teams, you're basically making people devalue that product, and they're tuning out more and more and more and more because in their mind, well, what's the point of watching this? Them if they can't even compete with the best teams.
I agree with what you're the philosophy that you're going with. I just disagree with the execution of it, because I don't want to have less international events. And I know the counter to that would obviously be, okay, you don't have to have Worlds, but you have some sort of event that's smaller scale, etc. But I don't want to give up Worlds every year. I think that just needs to be a thing.
No, I get that too, and I'm very much on we need less international events. I've always been on that train. I've been on the more you try to give people international events, especially Western people, the more you're telling them I'd rather have a global type league, and I don't value my regional league that is really going to be the things that actually can successfully keep you over time.
That's a tough one to tackle, because I get your point, and this goes to what Big Red is saying in chat, and I just want to make sure that he knows that I'm reading what you're saying and I get it. We do need to. Oh man, this is such a catch-22.
So here's kind of what my comment to Big Red here is: when it comes to international competitions, I'm somebody who will always cheer North America on. I want them to succeed. When they make quarters at Worlds, it's great. When they make finals or semifinals at MSI, that's great. But I compare the LCS to a FCS football team, where they can succeed in their own regional league, but if you took the best team from the FCS and put them against one of the top 10 teams in the NCAA every year, they're 9 times out of 10 they're going to get run out of town.
Yeah. That's a great comparison. I'll also throw in soccer as well. You throw an MLS team into the EPL, and we just get smoked. For those that don't know, the EPL is the English Premier League, which is like the premier, the league of all leagues as seen internationally.
And to like back up what David's saying, when EPL teams do travel to the U.S., they usually play MLS teams in kind of friendly style matchups, and they do smoke them. But it's not even like they're just smoking them with their talent. Most of the times when they come in toward the U.S., they're coming with mainly their backups and stuff.
Yeah,
so it's
they don't
even
they
like
don't go full force. There's no point.
So that's always been my thing when I hear people always focus on we need NA to do well at Worlds. Worlds, we pump all this money in. There's no results. Like the way economies and stuff work, and because there's limits on player regions, and because there's such a big focus on solo queue practice, and when you're playing in a solo queue environment that has less people, that is also less skilled, you're creating bad habits throughout a full year that whenever you do compete internationally, you don't have that same training available to you for a full year. So like mistakes that somebody will get punished for and they'll learn for on a Chinese super server or the Korean kind of super server on itself are not mistakes that get focused on and abused here in North America, given our player base size and the quality of player base and the fact that most people's ping, whether you're East Coast or West Coast, is not comparable to what the ping of these players are playing on in the big servers in the eastern regions like China and Korea. And I still stand by the fact, if you took DRX and SKT and you said you're going to be in LA for a full year, you're going to be training here as an LCS team, but you get an automatic qualification to Worlds, they would go in at Worlds and they would be out of groups.
Yeah, it's so let's go down this thought experiment real quick. If you want to focus on winning internationally and ignoring locally, which first and foremost you can't do because it's been proven several times that when you focus purely on going to the international stage, you tend to fail domestically because the style that you need to play to be able to win domestically that wins internationally, it doesn't always work in NA. It just doesn't. But on a broader scale, like stepping back even further, the only way that you end up with an LCS that is competitive with the LPL and LCK is one of two things. One, you completely get rid of the import rule. Our player base is not large enough. We will never catch up to what they have given the current state of League of Legends in North America. But as you said, even if you get rid of the import rule and you bring T1 here, they will not be as good if they are playing in the LPL or LCK. So the only way that you truly get an LCS team that can become competitive on the international stage is by having them play in China and Korea pretty much all year, which is not possible. That gets rid of the LCS as we know it. You give up our identity entirely and our watchability for an NA audience. You get rid of everything that makes North America in order to make that happen. And what happens? We don't end up winning it anyways. Or if we do, we become so irrelevant to NA fans by that point that it doesn't matter. Yes, LCK and LPL players are better by nature because of the system that they grow up in and the players that they are surrounded by. When you are surrounded by good competition, it elevates your level of skill. It's the reason why playing in the LCS will never lead you to be as good as Faker or as good as the best players in the LCK and LPL. You have to play against better competition than yourself to be able to get there. And your top teams, so say FlyQuest and TL of this year, no matter how hard they smash North America, and say they do it in a style that will work internationally, it does not matter. They are not playing against LCK and LPL teams. We boot camp there every year for a reason. And while we can't stay there the entire year because we have to come home and entertain our fans here because this is, at the end of the day, a North American product, there's no solution to this. And that's why I am so firmly against the idea that we have to succeed internationally to make a an entertaining product here. You have to make an entertaining product with the assumption that we will never win a Worlds title. And that is a very hard pill for a lot of people to swallow ever since Reggie said we're going to win Worlds. I apologize, that was a really long portion.
No, and me adding on to that too is Worlds and MSI are maybe for like a North American fan, like with North American teams, is about a month and a half of content in the year. The LCS as a league is about 6 months of content going on throughout a whole year. So just by natural, like what people are going to be intaking the most of, you need to make your regional leagues more consumable and more viewer friendly and more engaging for audiences, regardless of Worlds or not, because that's what people are going to be taking in the majority of the time. And I'm somebody, I even said in the chat here, I hate when I hear orgs bring up Worlds in their intro docs for their rosters and stuff. Like Dig mentioned it, and I'm just like,
Dignitas.
Can we just ban the W word until it's like qualifying like LCS summer tournament? Because for me, it's just you're just telling fans that that's what you should be focused on at the end of the day. When really, for me as a person, I think it, and we're seeing a little bit of a change, but like winning LCS should matter. We've had 5 orgs win LCS in the 20 plus splits we've had of it. Only not that many players get a chance to win the LCS, so it really should be a bigger deal. And I feel like we're starting to get there more. But every time I see a new roster, like we're building this for international world success, that's our importance. I'm just like, all you're doing is giving people an excuse to meme on you whenever you either don't qualify for Worlds or if you end up getting out in group stages, which to me, if getting out in group stages is like a perfectly okay, reasonable result. Like I would love them to do better, but I'm not going to sit here and flame players for being outclassed by people who are just have a better environment around them where they can train and hone their skills in.
So I want everybody in chat to do something for me. I'm seeing a lot of comments that are saying this is the problem, which is a thing that in North America we do a lot. And I want you to look at Charlie's comment, who C Sears, if you don't know, I believe that's IMT Charlie. He works for Immortals on the content side. Said just play Academy out of Korea. If you're gonna list a problem, you need to give me solutions. And Big Red just came in one with nuking the money in the league. Salaries are already coming down. So that's already happening. So this will be a good year. If the results are the same this year as they are going forward, we are now correctly seated in the market with how much we are paying our players relative to the LCK, who has the highest salary, and the LPL, who is reportedly second. And we are, I guess, lower than the LEC, or probably somewhere around it. It wasn't said. But we are now paying less. So that is being done. But I need more steps. If we're going to say that we need to win internationally, what needs to be done to win internationally that we can actually control? The point about playing Academy out of Korea is technically a good one, but there's a big problem with that. You want the majority of your Academy talent to be younger. Players that are upcoming, that will slot into the league with a few veterans here and there to help lead them. You are not going to be able to convince many 17 or 18-year-olds' parents to let them go to China or Korea to practice League of Legends in the Academy scene for a minimal paycheck. That is not going to happen. It is already up. It is so difficult for many parents to already accept in traditional sports. Like Christian Pulisic, for example. His father sent him over to Europe when he was 16 to play with the European minor league teams and grow up in that system, so he learned. So that is exactly what Charlie's suggesting, which works. It does, clearly. But it is not sensible to have our entire North American scene go over there. That just doesn't add up. It's not going to be possible. It's too much of a cultural complication, in addition to the fact that it is going to be impossible for North American fans to I mean, not that many care already as is, so I guess that's kind of a mute point. But it's going to be, why would you not just play in LCK's academy scene then? Why have a separate LCS academy side?
So I also want to step in because I always see like what Big Red Bird said about nuking LCS money and salaries too high, and we are seeing a adjustment for that. But my always pushback and fighting on that is, let's say like these orgs like Team Liquid, let's say between merchandising deals, sponsorship deals, money they get in from Riot now, that they can say that LCS is bringing in around 11 to 12 million dollars of income in a year. What is wrong with a team saying, okay, we have $12 million of income. We're going to take $6 million of that and invest that into our players? People always put international results as a reason why player salary need to be higher or lower, or even just domestic results sometimes. But if these orgs, I'm not saying this is the case with them, but if these orgs are doing things correctly and they're making income levels that are in the tens of millions of dollars, I see no reason why the players shouldn't be getting paid $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, because these orgs are getting in money to pay them that way. It should have no impact on whether the LCS teams can beat LPL teams or LCK teams. It's more of these teams have a money income coming in that affords them the ability to pay higher amounts of salaries.
So I agree with what you're saying for the most part with this clarification and kind of caveat added to it. Revenue is kind of an irrelevant number, all things considered, because coming from the financial side, you can drive in as much revenue as you want. If you are still operating at a net loss, that is still a problem.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying this is all positive income. Yeah.
No,
you're right.
Yeah. But I want to make it clear to those that don't understand the finance of this, because I'm not assuming that you don't know. I'm just assuming that in general, not everybody has the same level of understanding of finance that I do. When it comes down to it, there are very few organizations in esports as a whole, let alone the LCS, that are profitable. So I do agree with the shrinking of salary if players are not bringing in value. Quite frankly, the only person that I think should be making $1 million in the LCS should be Doublelift, because he's actually bringing in value well beyond just results. And I don't think results are enough to get that high paycheck, even though they obviously do help. You need to be marketable. As you said, you need to be able to bring in sponsorships and provide deliverables as well. There's so many other things to this than just international results that I agree with you. I don't want people thinking just because, say, Perks, for example, comes into North America and gets us to Worlds, that means he deserves $1 million. It does not. So what if he gets you to Worlds? If you grow nothing as a brand because of that, then you wasted money.
So my comment to what you just said, Big Red, about wanting the income cap, and I'm all for an idea of a salary cap and stuff like that. I've been saying that since the LCS started franchising.
I think a lot of people want a salary cap, but it's not. It will never go through, obviously.
No, they'd actually have to make a players union and a CBA, and Riot wants to do all they can to avoid any type of legal powership being taken away from them. But when I see people always say these paycheck stealers like Doublelift, Afro, Huhi, Jensen, like Huhi won LCS last summer. He qualified for Worlds as the second seed of NA this year. He went to both LCS finals. Jensen played one split this year and was on a team that won the LCS in summer. Doublelift won 6 of his last 8 LCS splits that he played in. These are not paycheck stealers. These are people who are actually playing in the LCS and winning. If you want people to replace them, they need to beat them.
Bingo. I 100% agree with you on that narrative, and I want to fight that heavily. There is no such thing as a paycheck stealer in the LCS, with the exception of, like, I hate to call out specific people, but, like, I won't even say the names. I'll just say certain players on, like, middle to lower tier teams that were imported for no reason. That, to me, doesn't make sense. But to players like to players like Doublelift, Heely, like all the players mentioned there, like you said, they should be in the league getting paid. Until they are at the point where they are no longer a top 10 player in the league, they should still be here getting paid. Now, does that speak to our ability to develop talent and promote them? Are there players that are better than them that are not getting onto LCS teams? Yes, and teams need to 100% take a better look at that. There's zero reason. Okay, I have to mince my words carefully there as well, because you look at a situation like Tenacity, because he was the example I was going to bring up. Tenacity should have been in the LCS this year. Fudge was on record saying that Tenacity will be one of the top 2 top laners in the LCS once he finally gets his shot and is given a year to develop. The problem is, players don't always get that chance to start. If you think that Tenacity didn't want to be starting last year, he did. But he made the choice to play in the 6-man roster on 100 Thieves rather than going to a lower tier team like Kenvi did. And because of that, got stuck in Academy because someday popped the fuck off. And there's nothing you can do about that. Sometimes those choices are intentional on the player side as well. But that's obviously not the case with everybody. And yes, organizations need to do a much, much, much better job of promoting talent than they currently are. But that's not on players like Doublelift, Huhi, Afromu, and who's the other one? And Bjergsen, who were all objectively top 5 players in their role still when they either retired or while they're still playing now. Huhi is still a LCS finalist. Is he of that higher caliber? Maybe not, no. But he's still a finalist and a top 5 player in the league at the moment. I'm hoping that's not the case come next year, but we'll see.
And I've always taken a track of the LCS paycheck stealer type comment and needing to give people more talent. And I bring up people because people will say Doublelift needs to go by and we need new 80 carry people to step in. And I'm like, well, what about what's happened with Johnson? What happened with all of the 80 carries that replaced them? They were all given lost. A bunch of younger talent came into the North American scene, and if they don't win LCS or make it far in the 2 or 3 years, LCS fans instantly turn on them, calling them paycheck stealers.
Yep.
Tactical, people were Tactical was Doublelift's replacement, who on TL, and people were high on him, and it took no less than 2 years for people to be like, TSM needs to bench and get rid of him. He's just going to be a paycheck stealer. He's not worthy of the spot and stuff like that. To where it's there have been people who have been given chances that people thought were going to take on a step that would be the next Doublelift in some type of a ways. And a lot of times they have ended up not winning that LCS title, and teams and people have gotten the perception that they're not worth the spot in the LCS moving forward.
Agreed. Kind of shifting. I want to shift this back to you though, because I know we've been talking a lot about chat and other things, but I want to focus on you for the last little bit here. What was your favorite memory of 2022 with League of Legends? It doesn't have to be just the esport.
It was 100% getting into the theater to watch World Finals. I wanted to go to World Finals as a person, but holy smokes, I did not. I don't think me as well as Riot did not realize how in demand those tickets were going to be. So I never got a chance to do that. But I was able to make it into the finals in a theater. And again, it's just that live experience that, people cheering, people, getting involved, clapping, getting involved, it going the full 5 games, having the twists and turns. To me, that's where I think League, I really want to see League go more of that way. And it was my best moment by far in 2022 for League.
That makes me so happy to hear that, because obviously being in the venues and everything my experience was different than most. And while I've had that experience of watching it with others for years now, it's nice to know that even those that couldn't go had that level of engagement, which I really, really want to see the LCS hone in on. But I don't know if I don't know how the time change is going to impact that.
I'm gonna say positive with the rest of the thing here. I don't want to comment on that
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't want to drag it down the mud either. I love that
because
you
I'm
had
right
that
there with you.
experience.
Trust me. Yeah, no, yeah. But yeah, no, that was my best experience there, and I think what I'm looking forward to in 2023 is going to be one of the LCS finals, whether spring or summer. I'm making it a point to go out this year since we know Worlds is in Korea and MSI is in Europe. I'm not going to go to those ones. So I'm definitely going to get back to an LCS final, and I'm hoping something in the Northwest at some point here. But either way, that is what I'm looking forward to, is getting to meet up with all these people that I've met online who are passionate, that are going to, want the opportunity to see the LCS live this year, since it's going to be on weekdays, and you can't really do that on weekdays because people have jobs and life. But
I'm curious if you had to take a shot in the dark, knowing that summer finals is reportedly in Jersey, so we got the Northeast mostly covered. Where do you think spring finals is going?
my hope, my hope would be either a Seattle or a Portland, but my gut is telling me it's going to be somewhere like Phoenix or uh, maybe even Las Vegas.
Ooh. I've got two guesses, and I'm curious to see what you think.
Okay.
My first, and I think community sentiment will heavily be with this one. I'm saying Toronto, Canada. I think the LCS has been long overdue to go back to Canada. They were supposed to have Worlds this last year, but the multi-entry visas made it next to impossible, and they're just due for one. They're so long overdue that whether it's Vancouver or whether it's Toronto, I think Canada is needed. The other one I would throw in, and I saw this on Twitter earlier today. I would like to see Colorado get one. Denver specifically has a really, really good, or not has, is a very good hub for a lot of portions of America that you can fly into relatively easy. And obviously they have good setups. They have some fairly good venues out there, and is a fairly progressive space that I feel like would be more accepting of esports than others, especially for spring finals where you're not trying to go the full stadium. You're trying to go a little bit on the not cheaper side, but more cost effective side. Colorado just seems perfect.
I think those are two A tier venue choices. I definitely think Toronto is needed. I'm so sad that they didn't get it for Worlds because I think it would have sparked that community up a whole lot more and reminded people, because Toronto is a big area. And I guess I know this because I follow hockey, and one of the podcasts I listen to are people from Toronto that are Leafs fans. Like Worlds at Toronto for semis would have been a big deal for League. And it's sad that it lost that out and went to Atlanta. So I think that is a great call. Denver is also a really good call. They just need to do something more in that Northwest area, because if we don't get something again, it hasn't been since Vancouver that the LCS has even gotten close to the Northwest.
Well, no, wasn't shit. What was it? 2018 finals was in San Francisco at the old
Sort of that
Warriors
early
Arena.
Northwest. And I went to that one too,
I don't know. I'm not familiar with West Coast like territory and what people find.
So you're in New York City. So what I would say, San Francisco is kind of like your Richmond, Virginia, maybe even more towards your like North Carolina, like Charlotte, like in Charlotte type area.
Yeah.
When considering of the West Coast of Pacific Northwest, it's like dead center in a way, more towards the south.
You hit Asher in chat's hometown of Richmond. Thanks for stopping by, Asher. I think Charlotte would be a great. Now, granted, I'm biased. I lived in North Carolina for 4 years. I mean, I think the scene there is right for it, especially if you could partner with colleges. Imagine, oh shit, okay, I just got myself insanely hyped for this. Imagine spring finals at Camden Indoor.
It would be very good, especially because there is a certain content creator that is very
Oh
interested
yeah,
and made a
yeah. I
bold
knew you were
statement in
gonna.
that same area.
I knew you were gonna go that route too. I forgot about that, but
But no, I agree with that. I think that would be a great one. I would love the idea of going to college scenes. But no, I definitely LCS finals is the thing I'm looking forward to because like I said, hopefully I'll get to meet a bunch of people that I'm kind of reconnected and reliking the LCS. I kind of during the pandemic and stuff, I went away just because all I heard was like so much negativity from people. And like that's one thing I'll ask like anybody in chat when you talk about the LCS, be positive about it because when you go online and you like, and I'm guilty of this myself, and we breed negativity and we give negative comments. All you're doing is advertising the people out there that don't know about the LCS that might be interested that like avoid this like the plague. Like the people who enjoy this don't even seem to like it themselves. Why would I ever invest my time into this? Uh, and I think that is changing with people like David here, the NA Amen crew, and a lot of others. And it's kind of reinvigorated me into the LCS scene this last summertime and stuff. So just that'd be my message: just spread positivity where you can, and really try to hold back from dunking on orgs players and even like the league sometimes because you're doing is telling people don't ever watch this thing. Those league players are just toxic. They're just horrible things. Never give them a chance, and we're just never going to grow the scene that way.
agreed. I have to swap callers here, but thank you, Con, as always, for not only everything you've helped do for me here, but you're being a voice of reason for a lot of people in the league scene. Like it goes along as much as you're praising, NA men and others, you very much are a part of that as well. So don't think that you don't play a part.
Oh, for sure, and yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see what other callers have. I'll put the Discord link back in the chat.
Perfect. I'll bring in the next caller. To those that don't know, once again, be sure to hop in the Discord, hop in the lounge chat, and I will pull you in if you want to talk. As of right now, I only got one other person lined up, so this could be the final conversation for tonight, but we will see. So let's bring in Baz. Baz, how we doing?
Hello. I just want to apologize first. I'm a little bit sick.
Dude, so am I right now, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm curious, before we get into your thoughts on 2022 and 2023, anything you want to talk about in general?
I mean, a lot of the chat and the previous people have talked about a lot of things.
Doesn't matter if they
I
talk. If you have unique
yeah.
thoughts on it that you want to put out there, go right ahead.
I I I come from I'm a Valorant dude, not so much a League person, but from my experience of just watching esports period, I only got into League like recently, and from my experience from playing like both games, Valorant and League, I don't know why. I like the environment more that Valorant has, and I think that can is a, kind of why League falters partly, but I don't know. I don't have a solution in mind personally.
By the environment that it has, I'm curious, just digging into that a little bit more. Do you mean like the openness of people? So you have obviously personalities like Shroud, Tarek. I'm trying to. Who's the? You had. Oh, why am I blanking on his name right now?
Tens,
Who's that?
Tens,
Yeah, Tens. And
Shazam.
you have every major player and their mother streaming, talking, not afraid to say, not afraid to give a little shit talk, not afraid to hype things up. Like, is that what you mean, or is there more
I
to it?
Okay, I guess part of me is I play college esports for my
Ooh.
college, and we have both League of Legends and Valorant at my college. And one thing I've noticed, like for just the college scene, is that nobody cares about League in the college scene. Like there might be like 10 teams, 20 teams total in the Valorant League versus for Valorant, we have to split into two divisions based on rank. and each division at least has like 60 plus colleges, and that's just for the Northeast alone, not including other leagues that are more for the whole U.S. and North America. So I guess when I mean environment is that it just feels like there's more variety of competition for Valorant versus League, where I feel like I have to only aim for Academy or the LCS, or I get nothing.
Yeah, there's no supplemental systems to play in. There's no hype around those amateur rec leagues, or even just like the college, as you said, the college scene. I get what you're saying, where you're coming from.
Yeah.
It sucks to hear to a certain extent because I don't feel like there's anything I can do to help that, barring trying to like host local tournaments here and like shine spotlights on it. But even then, like my resources are fairly limited to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it's also kind of I remember one of our players that switched to Valorant used to play, and I know this is probably outside of your sphere, but he used to play Rainbow Six, and he was very good at it, but the game just died off, and he was forced to swap to Valorant, or he was going to basically be like the only decent player on his team.
Yeah. So for context, I keep in touch with almost every esport and know like the general business trends around them and know some of the conversations. So I'm not completely in the dark when it comes to Rainbow Six Siege, but I definitely don't know everything about it. But I remember having that exact conversation with a few of my friends who started playing it early on, and they were like, "This is the next big thing. It's gonna take over Counter Strike and get get all the player base to swap over." I was like, "It feels a little slow to me, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here." And it took about 6 months, and it just never caught on. It was like, no, the wave's already missed. You'll have like a 2-year spurt, and it will just disappear. And from the sounds of it, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it even happened with me at one point because I was into Rainbow for like a little bit with my friends, left completely because I was just like the game just felt too clunky in a way that just I was like there has to be more added onto it, and it just never happened.
That's the nature of a lot of Tom Clancy games, though, in my opinion. Because I had a friend that played, I think it was Ghost Recon, back whenever that came out, and him and I used to always play Call of Duty together every launch. And he's like, dude, I'm loving this game and the optimization. It's letting me do things with my gun that Call of Duty just can't do, and it's hitting differently. I went in and played it, and it was the exact same thing that you're saying. I was like, this feels, it doesn't feel smooth, is the best way I can say it. Like, I get on the Call of Duty, I can hop in, know what all is going on, get into a game, and have a guaranteed experience every single time. This just feels rough, like really rough around the edges, and that until you can polish that off, it's tough. And with a game like Valorant that comes in and it's just smooth right off the bat, shit, it's over.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to quickly, I saw in chat someone asked what league I play, and I play in the ECAC league, and also the SUNY league, which is the
Yeah.
the State University of New York league. I don't focus too much on the state league just because it's only state colleges that can participate in it. It's kind of
Yeah, you can't face the great folks over at NYU. That's what you're telling me.
no, it's just the fact that for ECAC I like a lot more. Unfortunately, I might not be able to play for the next semester because I have a class from like 6 to 8, and the matches start
shit.
at 8.
Yeah, that's.
And I was, but hopefully my college is supposed to be getting an arena with our own PC, so I won't have to rush up to my dorm each time after games to.
Do you go to
after class.
Do you go to college in New York?
Yes.
Which school, if you don't mind my asking?
SUNY Polytechnic Institute.
Okay, I I don't have any friends that went to that specific one, but I have a few friends that were within the SUNY network in general.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we weren't even supposed to get an arena anytime soon. But basically, and this is kind of, I don't know how much I should actually say about this, but my government during COVID kind of saved, my student government at the school saved a lot of money and put it into what's called reserves.
Yeah.
And basically, our financial people said, if you don't spend close to 300K this semester, we gonna take that money.
Yep. No, that's how a lot of colleges work, and it's actually you see a lot of student organizations kind of utilizing that, where they'll manipulate funds until they absolutely have to at the end, and management of the university is like, oh well, you got to get rid of it, and it's like, okay, because you said so. We've intentionally been saving to basically fund an esports arena, or at least like a lab of some sorts that allows you to have that. We tried doing that back in 2016 at my undergrad school, but it didn't. We weren't able to get enough to fund it, which sucks.
Yeah.
But it was what it was.
So I mean, I'm just excited overall for it, and just hopefully we didn't make playoffs this year, but hopefully next semester we'll whoop at everyone's butt.
The thing I will make a recommendation to you for, if you've never heard of the low budget LCS or LBLCS, it is a League of Legends rec league that has several different divisions, which are all based on your current rank in solo queue or flex queue. And it's very similar to the collegiate leagues that you'll play in. There's a full regular season that follows pretty much the world's group stage format, where we typically have anywhere in each division. So like the last time I played in it, we played in the gold and platinum tier. We had, I think, six groups of 14. We had 24 teams in our division alone, which then fed into like a full playoff system. And you didn't win anything. It's a rec league, but it's that system that really makes playing competitively fun, no matter what elo you're in. I would highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
So I'm curious, what's your favorite moment of 2022 for League of Legends?
That uh honestly, I think just since it was my first Worlds that I actually like watched, it was just seeing the production value that Worlds has compared to like other esports that I've watched. So
Prior to this point, what was your golden standard for esports events? Like, what was the pinnacle?
pinnacle would probably be CS:GO majors. Basically, it's like I was a huge CS:GO person, and then not to say that Valorant semi killed that
It did.
CS:GO, but
It did. I don't care what
yeah.
anybody says. It did.
I think it killed it enough to the point where you can't just be like, oh yeah, we're all good.
Yep.
So
So this beat out the CS majors that you previously watched.
oh yeah, I mean, I'm on the daily like rewatching like the world's opener just because I was like so astounded by it.
We got one. We got another one. League did its job, baby. Let's go. You have, dude, that it is so great to hear that, because that was me in 2017 when I first watched Worlds and the dragon came down, which I'm not sure if you've caught up on all the prior Worlds opening
I
ceremonies now.
I think I've seen like at least the dragon one because that was like one of the biggest ones.
Do yourself a favor and go rewatch all of them. 29, like, don't go straight to 2019. Start at like 2016 and keep going forward, or even go back to like 2014, and you'll see the progression of how much better it got year over year. And 2017, when that dragon came down, I rewatched that moment for, I think, up until 2019. I just kept rewatching it over and over again and couldn't stop. Couldn't help myself. It's so addicting.
Yeah, I can fully understand that.
I'm curious to know. I I want you to DM me after you've watched all of them and give me a ranking of them. Obviously, I know this one will probably be number one in your heart because it's the first one that you saw live, and nothing will be able to replace that. But I'm genuinely curious to see what you think of the other shows as well.
Yeah, I'll totally do that, man.
So going into next year, other than next year's World's opening ceremony, what are you looking forward to?
I'm kind of just looking forward to just watching more because I like throughout last year I was constantly trying to keep up with every league, like not just LCS, like LEC, LCK,
Damn.
LPL. Like I want to keep track of it just because I think League as an esport is so much different than like Valorant or CS or any FPS that it just entices me to watch it. Like I don't think I'm ever going to reach that height of like making it to that type of stage, but watching it alone is just it excites me to watch it.
I love hearing that. You have no idea. It's so nice to hear that fresh perspective. I think you've never actually been to a league event in person either.
Nah, I my college was actually had a raffle for tickets for the New York City group stage, but I
Cool.
didn't win it.
You know, we had a free Red Bull event that you could have came to have like a watch party with a bunch of people during Worlds.
Yeah, but like SUNY Poly's all the way up in upstate, so it would have been a
Yeah, but
drive
you
to
can make
get
a
down
weekend out of it.
there. Dude,
Come on.
college can get to you, man.
I'm not denying that, but I'm saying you got to have some SUNY friends in the city campus that you could just be like, bro, come on, let me bum a bed or bum your couch for a night. Just let me chill.
Maybe when it comes around next time.
Well, it'll be here next year, not for
Yeah.
Worlds, but LCS finals will be in New Jersey.
Mm.
So I will say, if it's something you really want to go to, start thinking about end of August, trying to plan a trip to Newark, or whether you want to stay in the city or stay in Jersey, whatever you want. It's obviously going to be cheaper in Jersey, but just think about it.
That sounds like something that I shouldn't miss.
I would highly recommend it. It'll get you addicted to League more than you've ever seen before.
It would be my first esport event, period.
Really?
Yeah. Despite me like watching it since like the Boston Major where Cloud9 won it was what first got me into esports. And since then, obviously from 2020 until like 2021 COVID hit, and then before that I just was never there wasn't anything near close enough to me to like actually go to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that you'll have, that since you're upstate New York, I'm not sure, is Boston closer to you by chance? Because you can just go over.
I either or I think
Okay.
would work out.
There's also a Call of Duty major in Boston this year, which the
Yeah.
COD fans, it might not be as hype of an event, but the fans in Call of Duty are some of the best in all of esports, in my opinion. That they'll make sure you have a good time.
Yeah.
But any final words you want to give before I move on to the final thing I have to do for tonight?
You know, I'll just say this: Cloud9 win Worlds 2023, baby.
Oh God, no, we're not. We are not starting off the year with this crap.
Cloud9,
No.
baby.
Who's your favorite player on Cloud9?
The bad boy himself, Fudge.
Oh God. Oh
Dude,
man.
okay. I know you said this earlier about the whole like shitting on the region. I don't care what you said. I love that. I loved it too, so much.
By all means, I have a ton of respect for Fudge. I love the role that he plays in the community. I love when he shit talks. I want us to be united when we go into Worlds. That's all I ask. But by all means, if that's what he has to keep doing to keep up this bad boy persona and give me a villain to cheer against, then by all means keep doing it. I respect it.
Okay, my voice is going now, so I should
All
probably go.
No problem. Have a good one, man. Have a great night, and thank you for coming on.
See ya.
All right. So we have one final thing to do before I wrap this up, and probably play some ARAMs after this for a bit, because I've been wanting to play some form of League and been missing it, and I still have 2 more weeks until I can actually play the regular game. Let me see. Let me bring back somebody to do our friendly draft. See if he wants to. Con, you still there?
I am. I've been touched in ways I wasn't asking, I guess.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey, yeah. YouTube, right? Likes that conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure. Do you want to do draft by chance?
Sure. I have no problem doing the draft. It was something like, fun.
The topic of the draft is the best ways to end a game in all chat. So /all draft. In other words, like, I don't want to say anything without giving it away, but basically, do you get the concept of what I'm going for here?
100%, yeah, no.
All right. Then I'll let you go first. Out of pure kind and courtesy, what's your number 1 overall draft pick in the /all draft?
I mean, I gotta go with the classic. Just a classic GG. I won't even add anything on. Just I'm gonna be respectful here. So just GG.
That's fair. It makes sense. I get it. It's the most common thing, but it's no fun. There's no flame there. I'm gonna go with for my number 1 pick. I think it makes the most sense to go with Jungle Diff. It's never my fault. It is always the jungler's fault. And everybody in the lobby needs to know that.
No, so with this draft, is this a winning or losing scenario or both?
This is anything. Anything. At the end of any game, a /all draft.
So my next one is the all chat report support, no wards. Like, report support and put their vision score in there. That's usually under 20.
Okay, that's fair. I think report in general is always going to be the go-to number 2. Makes sense. Can't say that it would have been my pick, because my pick, as pointed out in chat, is too easy. You have to let them know. If you stomp them 30-0, you can't just let the game end. That's no fun. You have to make sure that they know that it was too easy. Provide a better challenge.
Okay. The next one I do sometimes whenever people are like being toxic back and forth is the GG uninstall or just uninstall.
Oh, the good old uninstall. That's fair. A little toxic of you. Just a little bit. It's not full-blown, 3-letter acronym that I'm not going to get up for or say for the sake of demonetization, but I think that's fair, all things considered. I think... Oh, now we're getting tough. Now we're getting into the area that you can either be really toxic or really nice. But damn it, Twitch chat, I need y'all to stop spoiling it. But I'm going to go with the twitch.tv plug. You got to plug your stream. You got to plug it. If you had a pop-off play or a pop-off moment, you got to put it in there.
No, that's a good one. I was thinking the same. I was even thinking of doing that one and having it be like a Twitch TV plug of somebody else. Like, even like as a meme of somebody else.
Yeah.
Especially if you're duo queuing with somebody and like they did bad, but they're streaming and you're just like, I'm gonna plug your stream
That's fair.
anyway. But oh my goodness, I had one here a second ago. Let me think. Go back. God, the Twitch TV threw me off. I'm thinking here. What did I have? Oh, all chat. Should have FF'd at 15.
Ooh, good one. That's fair. Because some people are just waiting for the entire time, or waiting the entire time for everything to just come to an end. And they've been waiting, and they just need to let out that little bit of frustration at the end of, yeah, maybe this shouldn't have gone on as long as it did. But I think, oh no, I just had it in my head, and I just lost it. No, why did I lose it? Shit. Oh, that's what it was. What do you do when you're in a game and somebody has an absolute pop-off and you just happen to be solo queuing by yourself? What do? You ask them if they want a duo.
No, he took my final one, chat.
You gotta let them carry you in the next few games. But they'll proceed to go 0-10 once you finally partner up with them.
Oh, very true on that one, yeah.
You got one final pick.
So this is because I am a Cho'Gath main, and it's been like a person that I play a lot, like in ranked, as over my years of playing League for over a decade, is just nom nom nom. The amount of times I end a game just trying to act as if I'm Cho'Gath, just nom nom nom. I do that, yeah. I see David's face. It's like, this guy's weird. I don't know why I dragged him, but like, that's a me thing.
Let me ask you this: if I'm not asking you to duo after the game, and you've gone say 20-0 with Cho'Gath, what am I typing to you in chat? If I'm 0-15, because we all have those games, and you absolutely carried the shit out of me, what are you typing in chat?
I don't know. I probably muted you.
Thank you for carry. And for the record, I didn't pick GG because it's so close to GG that I wanted to keep it separate. Because I could have said GG no re as well. Like, there's a whole bunch of other options, but I think thank you for carry makes the most amount of sense at number 5. Because we all have those games where we just get outdrafted and there's nothing you can do. Or not out, we get outgapped, but somebody helps save the game entirely. And that is what it is. Now, chat, you get to decide who wins out of me and Khan's draft. Drop a D in chat or a K in chat. And the amount of spam will be the winner. Oh, that's not looking good for you so far. You even ratted yourself out? What the hell? Here, we're going to get an impartial judge in here. Heely, we're bringing you back in. I need you to give me the final verdict. Who won this draft?
I mean, objectively speaking, it's probably David.
Who do you think TikTok will vote for?
Probably you.
To be fair, I'm 0-2 on drafts that I posted online. Paul has kicked my ass in all of them so far.
Yeah, Paul is a drafting guru.
He is like your standard League player to the fullest. Like, keeping a list of players that a year from now he will remember and int them if he can.
Close his Google Docs.
This was just like a hard one to go by. Like, to make like 10 of like all chat messages is really, really hard. I am 100% the like just the GG person as I'm getting out of game.
I like the back to the lobby when I kill someone in TFT.
Oh, that's tough, actually. That's really tough.
especially when you play Yumi comp.
And I'm more of an emoji flasher, so like when I'm in TFT, I will like, or even League, like I'd rather spam the emojis than all chat. I find them more toxic.
I mean, that's fair. But to everybody that tuned in for the Crossover Podcast, thank you. I will catch you on the next episode next year, where Paul will be back and not on a date, and we will be discussing LCS as finally we start heading towards the new year and the new start time and new start day. But we're going into the year on a positive note, so we're forgetting about that. But thank you all for tuning in, and now we're going to play some ARAMs.